Lotus, and welcome to and/or welcome back to my page. If you have not seen me already, hi, I'm Fire Lotus. I've been doing these videos for about 3 or 4 years, and I've been a practitioner for about 18, going on 19. Um, if you do not know what we do in these videos, basically some videos have a complete actual subject, others are just depending on where the conversation goes. We talk about everything revolving spirituality, witchcraft, paganism, and everything in between except world events and/or politics. We don't talk about that here. Um, and today is a very special day because today is going to be the first day that I start what I'm calling small business shoutouts. Now, I have already picked this business. I'm only going to do one today, but there's a reason, because this particular one I will also be doing an unboxing for very soon. Good morning. I followed this person, and for anybody who replays this, check the description of this video once it goes live. The link to their shops and their TikTok will also be tagged to it. But yeah, I'll get into that in a minute. Hello. We're going to talk about some things because there's some interesting things going on. So we're going to talk about them. And we're going to talk about a term, which I forgot the term, but I can explain what it is, that apparently is not really talked about in basically anything outside of paganism. And it was an interesting concept that, like, I understand the basis for. It's just, to me, it's not realistic. And yeah, and we're also going to talk about Appalachian folk magic, and how it's not a closed practice, and you also don't actually have to live in the Appalachians for you to practice it. So here we go. So to start this out, I stitched a video. Apparently there is a term that basically describes killing a god and or goddess or a deity. Now, I'd never heard the term that was used in the original video, so I stitched it and I was like, you know what, I'm done. Anyways, not the point. It actually stems from, I believe, the Greeks and the Greek and I want to say Roman, where they did believe that you could kill a deity. For one, that to me sounds like an ego thing. Because, like, why would you want to kill a god? And then secondly, do we really need that type of energy right now in this time and age? No, we do not. But apparently it is a thing. Now, there are multiple ways that somebody could say, you know, they're trying to kill one, whether that's a ritual. In my head, it would just be like if everybody just stopped believing in it or sending it energy or anything like that. But if we talk about gods like that, then technically, if we talk about, or if we word it as, you know, God's the reason they're alive and still around is because of people praying to them and working with them, to me that makes it sound like it's an egregore that became sentient after a certain amount of time. But through that, there was a lot of conversation, and somehow somebody randomly decided, and I'm not talking bad about them at all, that basically kind of pointed out that a lot of Appalachian practitioners don't really know about this. But the way that it was worded, it kind of sounded like the person thought that Appalachian folk practitioners don't work with deities. I've only met a few that don't work with deities. But it kind of opened the thing. It kind of opened the doorway, because I got a question right after that, which is, if you live in Pennsylvania and the mountain range, is that part of the Appalachians, and or can you work with folk magic, or Appalachian folk magic? And the answer is yes. That now, up in that region, you're primarily going to hear not Appalachian. You're primarily going to hear granny magic and or Pennsylvania Dutch magic. Now, if you're interested and if you've never heard of Pennsylvania Dutch magic, not that I really studied it, but I do know that they work with what are they called? I call them sigils, but they're not. You'll see a lot of them. I think they're called a hex, actually, but it's not the hex that you're thinking of. It's not like I'm hexing you. It's an actual protection. It's kind of like the evil eye. And they use patterns that you would see in Oh my God, not quilting. Is it quilting? Yes, quilting. You'll see them in quilting patterns. And a lot of the time up in that area, you'll actually see it being painted on barns, which I love the artwork. And then you also have granny magic. Now, it's interesting with granny magic because there was a discussion last year about how granny magic, the term in itself, should not be used. I don't really know why. Um, but as I tell anybody, if you are looking into Appalachian folk magic, now there are some books that are extremely hard to get that is literally just pure Appalachian culture and myths and how to survive and how to live off the land. Those are called the Firefox books. I think there's like 8 to 12 total, but they're extremely hard to get. And if you do get them, you're going to be spending some money. But if you don't want to go down that route, obviously Backwoods Witchcraft by Jake Richards, and his second one, Doctoring the Devil by Jake Richards. There's also, it's not really necessarily Appalachian folk magic, but it's still a really good book, which is also Southern Conjure. Now there was another book that came out, which is like, The Branches and Mountain Magic. What is that book called? Anyways, it's got this little cottage on the front of it with, like a couple of mason jars on there. I understood where the author was trying to come with that book, but completely missed it. It's more like in a way, a journal about the author versus actually explaining how and why these certain things are done versus Jake Richards' book. Jake Richards' first book, imagine being contacted by distant relatives that like you've never really met before, and then you go and you talk to them, and you show up on their property for the first time. So like imagine your distant cousin just kind of coming up to you and treating you like they've already known you your entire life, and then walking through a mountain and the like locations, basically saying, hey, so this is what this is that. That's literally what that book, the first book, is. It literally almost feels like he's giving you a tour of what the culture is. Now it's and there's also something else I'm going to talk about as well. But wait, what was that comment? I've seen them. I have one I've sewed together for my altar cloth. They really are very powerful. I've used 2 of them before. Now what's interesting about that, and another conversation that kind of done, there was a video of this person basically stating that when you use terms in spirituality, not really witchcraft, but in spirituality, when you use terms higher and lower vibrations, you're basically doing the same thing the church is with the mentality of like good and evil. The problem with that video, I understood where he was coming from, or where they were coming from. Hello. But the problem with that video is he ended it with shadow work. Shadow work was coined by Jung somebody in the 20th century. I can never remember that guy's name. But not everybody is going to have to do shadow work. Not everybody likes shadow work. And one of the only reasons shadow work is so talked about right now is because of TikTok. It's one of those pop words. What do I mean by one of the spiritual new age pop terms? It's a term that automatically makes it sound unique, makes it sound different from everybody else. Normally falls under the category of you've had some type of trauma and you're a wounded healer that's trying to heal from it. And it even has some narcissistic ideologies almost, if you will, because when we're talking about the shadow self, it's very narcissistic due to the fact that it's all about us versus everybody else. Exactly, and that's what I keep trying to tell people. If you have PTSD, if you have any type of trauma that has been unprocessed, unless you have a therapist or anything like that, I like calling shadow work inner healing. Sounds less harsh. It really does. And see, I like that, inner healing. It comes off way better. And I'm getting sick of it because these people are only doing it for the views and the likes, which led to a conversation in that video, which is being heavily suppressed because I came up with a point, which is how, as a spiritual person, including me, how are we supposed to fully reach that ego death and become really spiritual while using social media? Because what does social media do? Especially if you are a creator, your ego is constantly being stroked every single day with more followers, more likes, more comments, more people agreeing with what you're saying. Your ego gets heightened and heightened and heightened. You cannot be a spiritual, not witch, you cannot be a spiritual teacher and have an ego the size of fucking Texas. It does not work that way, because when you raise your ego, you're also separating yourself from everybody else. You're basically almost making it inclusive, which doesn't make sense. Someone saying you need Jesus equivalent, you need to do shadow work. Exactly. And my biggest flex technically is I'm a creator, to where if I fuck up, if I missay something, if I was proven wrong with like facts, then I will make a video and just straight up, hello, okay, I hope you're having a good day at work. But I've made videos before straight up calling myself out. Why? If you've been following me for a while, you know where this conversation is about to go. Is because, have I experienced a true ego death? Yes. But, again, what I mean by this is I keep these two things with me all the time, which is, one, when you're having a bad day, when bad shit's happening, and we always say, why me? Why me? Why not you? What makes you better than me, better than anybody else on this world? No matter how rich, no matter how poor you are, everybody is going to have good and bad days. It's part of life. If every day was just fucking perfect and nothing bad happened, it would basically be like having depression. Because without the bad, you don't understand, or we can't fully accept and like enjoy the good, right? Now again, before I say this, not everything in life is a lesson or anything like that. I get that. Sometimes life is a royal bitch and then we fucking die. But with that also being said, the second one is to ask yourself, what can you learn from what is happening? Now again, not every situation is going to be like that. And then when a stressful situation comes, when I like to call it when the other shoe drops, give yourself enough time to actually freak the fuck out, let all of the emotions flow, and depending on how big or small the situation is, and depending on how much time you give yourself, and then pull yourself back together and be like, all right, what can I do? How can I fix this? How can I smooth this out? And or how can I make this less my entire world is burning down around me? And it's helped me. It's helped me so much, realizing that, yeah, I'm going to have a bad day. That doesn't mean I'm hexed. That doesn't mean I'm cursed. Most of the time, if you think you're hexed, it's anxiety. And that will be a merch one day. Straight up. It's you're not hexed. It's your anxiety. And TikTok is making it worse. And we've physically seen this with people starting the app, being basically non-offensively a nobody. And then depending on how they do, overnight, they're a fucking celebrity. And a lot of people have asked me, like, you know, how do you do this? For one, I rewatch everything before I record it, or before I actually post it. And that's what I mean by, like, I've sit in front of my phone for 30 minutes to an hour fucking trying to word something perfectly, because not everybody is like me. I get that. Not everybody that makes spiritual content or anything like that is like that. But at the same time, I consider myself a teacher, which means when a situation arises me or triggers me, I have to think of a way to be able to get my point across without coming off as condescending, without showing aggression or anything like that. And it trust me, it's not easy. But it's something that we have to learn. And then the other thing is, if you are on the app educating on anything, you have to realize, especially when it comes to witchcraft, you have to realize how the world works outside of our community. They don't see a difference in witches. They just see us all grouped together, which means every single time you post something, you are not only representing yourself, but by how the world works, you're also representing what witches are to the world, for the people that don't fully understand. Like, on my Mindful Soul video that I uploaded on here, I got I'm assuming he's a preacher. He's a Christian man. Stating that I needed to get away from witchcraft and capitalism and come back to the Savior of the Lord. And I'm like, if you're a preacher, the church is the biggest capitalistic thing that we really have. If not in the United States, in the fucking world. I mean, you have fucking preachers that are so big, they can buy private jets without having to be taxed for it. straight up capitalism. Like, if I really wanted to become a con artist or just make a shit ton of money, I would build a church. It'd make way more money than anything else would. Emotional intelligence. I was talking about this yesterday. Exactly. People are all about shadow work and inner child work, but I would like to know about healing in the shadow created within an actual child before they become adults with deep trauma, like a lot of us. Exactly. Same. You're actively communicating with your audience via Discord. That's a big difference. This is true too. I'm trying to. Like, I know there's a lot of the times that I don't really respond in the Discords, and it's just because I'm trying to get everything organized. But, like, I mean, I've learned shit in the Discord. I learned shit yesterday. And it's just, it's the ego. It's entitlement. And I cannot stand, and this is another conversation that's going around, which is when you meet a witch and they automatically think they're a fucking expert. You cannot be an expert in witchcraft. Now, if you have, like, PhDs and everything like that, and, I don't know, folklore and, like, the college shit that you can go, well, then, yeah, that does make you advanced. But no witch, I don't care if fucking, and I have to correct myself because I made a statement where, say you were needing basically you were needing some type of surgery and it was between life or death. Would you pick a doctor who's been doing it for 40 years or someone who just got out of medical school 2 years ago? Or only has 2 years of experience? Good morning. And at first I was like, well, obviously I would pick the 40-year-old. And then people made me realize that's not always true. Because I'm 29, but when it comes not necessarily, well, yeah, magic and a couple other things, due to the fact of how my life has been, and some of the situations that I was either thrown into or due to other circumstances I had to go through, I'm very mature. I have a lot of life experience at only 29 years old. But, like, at the same time, I've met people that are older than me that in witchcraft, they're way experienced. But it also has to depend on how you are. If you're one of those types of people that focus on one thing. Me, I'm ADHD, I'm an Aries, and I have bipolar, and that shows in my life. Why? Because I stick a finger or a foot in almost everything. No, I'm not talking about anything fucking closed. But everything like that, I used to call myself a eclectic witch, which was before TikTok came around. It was literally coming across something magical, studying it, researching the shit out of it, and incorporating it into your practice. And now that's just a really bad thing. Like the person who made the comments earlier, I went on their profile because they're following me. I went on their profile and they recently just did the coyote video. And because in that video, the creator behind it, and I'm not even going to mention his name, after everything popped the fuck off and his page was getting a lot of interactions, he created a video of a list of things that were closed. And the way it was worded and the way that most people took it, basically any species that is specifically only here in the United States is closed to anybody who is not a native. And I had 2 natives reach out to me and they're like, no, that's not true. Like that's not true at all. Now, yes, there are some bones and certain things like that that are not closed to us. It is closed on how they use it versus how we use it. And another question that I want to ask people is, okay, so half witches or spiritual people, they believe in what? Past lives, right? What happens, because there are certain magical traditions that some people would say is closed, is because you have to go through initiating process with that, right? With that initiating process, some of those initiations are or basically doing a divination of asking the spirits that they work with or the energies that they work with if they accept this specific person. No matter the skin color, no matter the race or anything like that. If they decide and say yes to it, then they will be ordained and or basically go through the rites and actually be trained. I'm not saying that's all magical practices, but this is what they don't talk about online. How do I know this? My ex and really good friend, where he's living at, he is part of the hoodoo community there. Yes, I did not say Southern Conjure. I said hoodoo. Why is this? Because the oracles of that specific, I'll say, branch came to him. They confronted him, and they're like, look, our oracles say that I need to start teaching you. So he is currently being trained in traditional, I don't know if it's traditional hoodoo, but it's hoodoo versus Southern Conjure. And see, that's another thing that I don't normally talk about this, but it's weird because most of the people that use that term Southern Conjure look like me. If you understand what I'm saying, you understand. Because I was told that if I call myself a hoodoo practitioner, then a lot of people will think that I'm practicing traditional hoodoo, and they'll call me a colonizer because of the color of my skin. And to me, that rubs me the wrong way. I'm like, so wait, I'm having to change a name because... And see, that's what a lot of people online do not understand, and I'm going to try my best to reach out to some traditional Southern Conjure or hoodoo people and try to talk to them about what are your thoughts on Southern Conjure. Because from my understanding of the history, and I can read you some of the Actually, I am. See, this is why I hope and pray anytime soon I do not get TikToks that are 10 minutes. Because I may not get views, but I'm going to be popping the fuck off in an educational way in those videos. But see, the problem with this is, every single time I try to do that, what winds up happening is somebody discredits the book. Okay. No, come on, there's one book that I'm talking about. Actually, there are two books, which is The Secret Keys of Conjure. And, come on, I know you're here somewhere. Does anybody else, like, put a book down and completely forgot you got the fucking book? Because I do that on a regular basis. Come on. There we go. Hoodoo, Honey and Sugar Spells, Sweet Love Magic, and the Conjuration and Tradition. There's a reason I'm pulling this book out. And then I'll be reading some from this. I'm also glad I'm not the only one that does that. Okay. Also, if you pick up a book and it has a page like this where it has dedications, acknowledgments, it's a really good book. All right. So, Hoodoo, Conjure, and Root Work. Hoodoo, also called Conjure or Root Work, is an African-American folk magic tradition born under the circumstances of American slavery, where ancient African magic met and merged with Protestant Christianity, Native American herbal lore, and a dash of European customs. Now, it actually gets 10 times deeper than that, which is what actually started Southern Conjure, because is it in this book or is it in the other book? Okay, let me finish this. There we go. In hoodoo traditions, we see several overreaching practices. The first is sympathetic magic. A hair from your head is part of you, and what is done to that part will affect the whole. Next is doctrines of signature, a correspondence between the look, the name, or attributes of an herb or object to help define its magical use. Thus, lodestones, which are attracted to each other, also promotes attraction between people. Also really great for prosperity magic. Witchy books I'm currently reading, LOL, because I'm forgetting actually read another book. It's a really great book to have. I will state that. If you show it on social media, depending on where you show it, you may get a little hate from it, but just ignore them. It's a great book to have. Whether you actually use what's in here or not, one of the main reasons I like it, that it is an entire list of all different types of sweetening things, like molasses, cougar shirk, the fuck, brain? Corn syrup, all these things that you can use in your practice and what they can be used for. Plus, in this book, a lot of the things that you're actually going to hear are not just from the author, but from some of the interviews in one of the biggest book collections that I have to get my hands on, which I'm about to say next, after I finish this. The lodestone. Last there is to call the spirit world, to ancestors, deities, and the dead. Their aid can help our endeavors. After the Civil War, hoodoo traveled northward, simulating Asian, Jewish, and spiritualistic ideas, adding seals, grimoires, lucky perfumes. By the 20th century, hoodoo goods were sold by mail order across the U.S. Hoodoo is a unique American creation, like jazz and comic books, in which a fusion of traditions come together as something greater than the whole and continuous to grow. When glass-etched candles came into the 1970s, root workers quickly added them to their repertoire. It works, it makes sense, then hoodoo workers will take a look. I went from learning about more, screw what others think. Exactly. I'm always learning about other things. I love learning about other things. It completely, like, it feeds a part of my soul that I cannot put into words. Okay, so, what hoodoo is not? Hoodoo is not a religion. It is definitely not voodoo, a West African religion with offshoots of Haiti's, Puerto Rican, and Brazilian. There's also another offshoot of that, which is known as Creole voodoo. Hoodoo does not have a heritage, and there are no interior rituals. Hoodoo do not carry with the belief of karma and or the threefold law. It is not Wiccan or neo-paganism or New Age. Hoodoo is not black magic. We do not use that term anymore. And most hoodoo spells and rituals are done in the name of, a lot of people are not going to like this, I still have to get used to it, Jesus, of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. If hoodoo has an official book, it is the Bible. Yes, you heard me right. It is the Bible. This is also why it goes perfectly with Appalachian folk magic, because what did they use in Appalachian folk magic? The Bible. Why? Appalachia was cut off a lot of the times throughout history, so they literally used that. That's one of the reasons a lot of people don't actually consider Appalachian folk magic, or at least the people from Appalachia did not consider that magic. They consider it just a way of survival. That's the biggest thing that pisses me off, which keeps off witch talk. A practitioner isn't allowed to practice a craft without considering what they look like. It's ridiculous. It really fucking is, because on top of that, I finally made a video stating that until I get a DNA test, I'm not even going to say that I have native in me. I had like 3 comments on that video. Wait, you're not native? Which means you cannot judge what somebody looks and or their race and or their ethnicity by seeing a 60-second to 3-minute to a 10-minute video about somebody. You can't. We all humans come in all different types of shapes, sizes, colors, shades, and everything else in between. And it's bugging the hell out of me. But again, I have no value on what I speak because I come off as white. Drives me crazy. By the way, the crows are here. They have been popping in randomly, off and on. And 2 slight things before I get back to this. I have finally reached a point with them to where they won't necessarily be like within a 5-foot radius from me, but a 10 to 15 foot radius from me, and they'll stay there. So like the last time that I fed them, 2 of them were over there on the my neighbor's fence. So like watching me, and I was like, okay, I see you. And then I also did something else when I went back there. I'm a full Senate native and don't look a part of all. Oh, that is cool. What did you just knock off? I see you. Also, if you feed your crows and stuff like that, somebody remind me after this to mention creating your own symbol, and it'll trigger my brain. Yes, the Bible is something that all folk practitioners from the South have in common. It's even harder for disabled witches. You can't be a witch because you're disabled. What? That also pisses me off because a lot of people don't know this, and yes, I know, which anybody who's disabled also knows this. I'm disabled. As in, from a doctor's standpoint, I cannot physically work a 9-to-5 job. Oh, yay! Hold that thought, y'all. Oh, that just made my day. Oh, you're not going to give me the option now? Oh, you're not. Okay, I'll answer that in a second. But yeah, somebody remind me of just making symbols and names, and it'll trigger something in my head. Why don't you heal yourself? Pisses me off. It really does. I've been studying the Bible and using it in some spells. Works 100%. I highly recommend if you're curious. I'm in the process of trying to do it. The fact you do your research about how we make research more accessible for indie people and those that are learning disabled and community statuses. Same. Like, I don't understand. Oh, cool. But same. Like, I'm disabled and nobody's really ever said it to me. I don't know why, but I'm the same way. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, in the simple fact, the way that I say it, the difference between modern medicine and herbal medicine and being a witch and spirituality is this. If I were to cut off my leg, I am not going to go to my altar and light a candle and pray for it to heal, right? I'm gonna go to a damn doctor and or a herbal doctor, right? Now, with that being said, if I don't know, I think I'm being hexed or something like that, I'm gonna go to my altar. Magic is for the spiritual and the soul, while modern medicine, therapy, and sometimes herbal therapy as well, is for the mind. And the reason that is, and or physically for the body, and the reason that is because when it comes to our mind, it's a bunch of chemicals. So, like, unless we can do like Dumbledore does, where he extracts the minds and you put it into this and you mix a little bit in this and then you drink it and turn it back, it's not going to work. And I also believe that when it comes to disabled people, we have a, let me say this before people take it out of order. So with people with depression, due to the fact that we have depression, when we want something, we give everything and more into what we want, right? It's the same way with people that are disabled. Due to the fact that it's just like if you lose an eye, or if you lose both of your eyes, or if you lose your hearing, most of our senses are going to strengthen and become stronger, right? The same as with being disabled. I believe that it changes our craft in multiple ways. I've heard the whole you can't be psychic and have anxiety. What the fuck? What the fuck? No, yes you can. You just have to decipher, and this took me a while to do. You have to decipher of what is your anxiety, whether that's mental or physical, and what is your instincts. I've been playing Obsidian. History was treated like crap of being physically injured and just praying to God for healing. Not sure if they're historically accurate, but the same concept. Exactly, and same. Like, there was a couple of moments in my life where, you know, a couple of things happened, and I'm like, you know, I will do anything to make this stop, and it didn't until I discovered that I was a witch, and I started working with energy, but it finally stopped. Yeah, really quick, let me finish this really quick. Okay. Here we go. For more history on hoodoo, and if y'all want me to, after I check this out, I will also put it in the description of the video. There is luckymojo.com / hoodoohistory.html southern-spirits.com. Hoodoo Herbs and Brute Magic. That's one of the other reasons somebody said that the author was... Let's just say I'm not going to get into what they've said about some of these authors. Okay. Now there's another aspect that I wanted to read. Nope, it was in this one. There we go. Should be in the introduction. By the way, y'all, if you can get your hands on this, or add it to your book list, it's a very good book. It is slightly kind of advanced, but even beginners would be able to use it. The Secret Keys of Conjure, Unlock the Mysteries of American Folk Magic by Chas Bogan, forwarded by Jackie Smith. This is a really fucking good book. On top of that, the way that it is, the contents, and then you have these books, right? They're all broke down. Tricks, recipes, And then you have a foreword. You also have resources, biography, index, and index of popular formulas. There's a certain aspect in this that I want to call because where'd it go? There we go. Okay. It's gonna be a little long, but it's worth it. So the magic folkways of North America share many traits, yet sometimes segregated by such factors as religion, race, and religion. Or region, race, and religion. All of which, as we see, influence how conjure practices are preserved. Regularly, religiously, people from across the country bring their own spun tradition to the table, and we find distinct influences such as New Orleans hoodoo, also known as Creole voodoo, Creole voodoo, Appalachia granny magic, Ozark folk magic, low country root work, and other minis words do not possess the descriptive names of who practice is referred to as simply as work or jobs or something similar. And then it goes into here more of the thing. Folk magic is North American, often features Christian imagery and scripture. Many magical benefits and customs can be traced to Native American, African, and European traditions, which is integrated into Christian iconography and celebrations, either to hide the practice or to basically just make it look like they were practicing Christianity when in reality they were practicing Southern Conjure and or Hoodoo. There's something else that I wanted to talk about in this book. Okay. Anyways, now that's a good book. There is another Conjure book that I have, but it actually is advanced because it goes over a couple of advanced techniques. But for me, especially with this book, for me, when I picked this book up, now I first got my first witchcraft book when I was about 11 or 12. And then 13, I got 6 more. So that is how long I have been practicing fully, right? I've read so many different types of books. This is the only book that I picked up and read. And I felt like there was a piece of me, of my soul, that was just being fed. And ever since then, and what's so strange about all of this and how it began was that one of the last times I was in Alabama, right before all of this started, I was at a Norse celebration for Mabon, and I made an oath to the old ones that I would spend the next year to 2 years finding my roots, finding out who I was, finding out my ancestry. And it just so happened, bam, Appalachian folk magic. And what's so insane was it was not until half a year, like in the middle of the first year that I got this book, that I actually realized that the Alabama part that I grew up in are literally the foothills of the Appalachians. A long time, but I still learn things every single day. I also unlearn a shit ton. Now, interesting what I wanted to say, because I actually remembered. So, you know how some people have their witch name, right? I also encourage people to create your own symbol. Now, with this symbol, it depends on you if you want to display it or not. I have a symbol that the only time it's ever been seen is in some of my workings, but it's not obvious what it is. And the reason that I state that is because I need to do this. I need to make time for my ancestors. It's just so much harder to connect. I definitely understand that. And I would do, if you are having a hard time connecting with your ancestors, do the, and I know it sounds kind of weird what I'm about to say, do the Spiritual Day 30-day spiritual challenge. For 30 days, off and on, you pick the time, you pick for how long. I normally do it in the morning time with my cup of coffee, or like in the afternoon when I'm eating lunch. I'll sit down and I'll talk to my ancestors like I'm talking to y'all. And you may not get a actual response right then and there. Okay, cool. But once you do that, what it does is it builds up the it builds up and helps connect the line of communication so you can actually slowly like start communicating with them and figuring out the way that both of y'all will communicate. Now with the small business really quick, it's on Etsy, but her name is Jessica. I've literally been following her. She was one of the like first group of people that mutually started following each other on TikTok. I have a hidden symbol. I incorporate mine into my own spellwork and artwork. Also, with that and like digital photography and stuff like that, there are also ways that you can hide runes in photos or sigils in photos without it being seen, and it still holds their properties of them. But for Small Business Thursday, and y'all will actually also get to see some of the products sometime within the next coming week. But her name is Jessica, and it is Higher Self by Jessica. All of that is put together on Etsy. She is in the process of actually launching her own website to get out of Etsy. But the reason I'm doing this is because when I tell y'all I've actually seen her, I've seen this business start from the very, very bottom into what she has now. She did take a hiatus from the app because she recently had a baby. And she came back. And oh my god, when I tell y'all her shop is fucking insane and incredible, it is. Not to mention, she is a single mom taking care of herself and her baby. All by herself. So, with that being said, all the descriptions, and when I tell y'all she got a little bit of everything, she literally, oh, okay. Oh, I see it now. It's smaller on my side. But when I tell y'all her business, she literally puts love and care into everything that she sells. And like I said, she has a little bit of everything. Herbs, she's got a couple of more on the higher self stunning pieces of jewelry, like moldavite and stuff like that. But she also has a stuff that's extremely affordable as well. Hi John the Conquering Root, she just got a shipment in, and they're fucking huge. Like, I spent $25 on the one that I have, which is that big. And it took a month and a half to get here because it was from the UK. And if I would have known about her shop then, But yes, anybody who replays this, and like I said, you can go to Etsy, and it's Higher Self by Jessica, all put together. And all the descriptions, her TikTok and her all her other links will be posted with this video in the description. So yeah, but like, I love it. And also with that, any companies that y'all have experienced and or actually got stuff from, whether that's on Etsy, on Facebook, if they have their own, post it in that group. I haven't figured out how I'm going to select them because I want to a point to where they're all selected. And yeah, we're going to start doing this every Thursday. It's also my way of giving back to the community and trying to help people out, even like if I can't afford to buy things and stuff like that. Also, remember how, and if I can find the video, because I favored it, apparently there is a new social media site that is kind of a mixture. If imagine TikTok and YouTube had a baby, right? It is for, well, I'm assuming anybody can use it, but the video that I saw, you actually create channels for videos depending on what the subject is, and they pay you. So I'm going to, more than likely what I'll do is I'll post the link to that video in here, and or I'll post the video. I need to write that down. I'll post the website and go check it out. It's something to look into. Because with Etsy basically about to die, and then TikTok also being fucking stupid, because if you haven't been on there recently, they completely redid everything, as in they added stories. They completely changed the notification section. What else did they add? They're changing shit dramatically on there. But yeah, see, I heard last year that there were a couple of creators from different platforms coming together and creating their own platform. Oh, and guess what? There will be also another website that will be linked below, which is called, I think it's called mywitchyfriends.com. It is a social media site that is made by one of my mutuals on TikTok, and he created it, and him and another person created this site, and it's fucking incredible. It's free to use, and it has so many resources on witches, YouTube, everything. The link will be posted as well. It officially went live, and the way that he's doing this, it really is, but this way, no, you don't understand. They dramatically change things now. But with this social media website, I'm actually hoping that it's actually like it's even accessible to people who have problems hearing or possibly even seeing. He went through, him and the person who created this went through every single thing that you could possibly think of that a site would need. They have it. So like I said, it'll be posted below. But he did a raffle because he actually bought the domain and everything like that. And I'm excited to see where this website goes. We had another one like this before, which was Witch Fox or Witch Vox. But it sadly shut down. And there's another one that, along the lines of Mandrake something. It was just, there's been a couple of issues with that site, controversial issues with that site. So this site, it's really, really, I love it already. I love how he's got it set up. So I would definitely post this. So let me make a note of this. I have no idea where my cup went. Hold that thought. Okay. Also, your reminder, tomorrow night's the full moon, or early morning hours tonight, is the full worm moon. And hopefully I'm going to start next week going over the video that I posted about the World Healing Project and getting everything that people suggested down. I did have somebody stitch that video and actually tell me that the easiest way to do it is to make a Google spreadsheet of it. That way it can be added onto and or taken away from. I just got to find the time and the motivation to organize all of this, but I will. We're going to do it. We will do it. This community, our community has done so much as it is already. We're all helping each other grow and learn. Of course. We're all helping each other grow and learn, and it's just a really, really amazing thing. Also, plant update. I have basil, and I have no idea what the other one was, but my partner brought me home some plants yesterday. So I will definitely be digging those today. I'm also going to do a vlog. I'm going to try to vlog using my phone with my garden for YouTube, because I did state that I was going to start actually working and focusing more on this page. Because I spent last year focusing on TikTok. I reached my goal before the end of the year. The goal this year is to break 1,000 before the end of the year on here. It really does. Like, it really does feel like family, because with me, the way that I am when it comes to like meeting new people that I've never met before, I've realized that if I tend to talk to them a lot when I do physically meet them, it's like I've known them my entire life. And it's that way with this. Now, the one thing I do have to get over is my fear of TikTok Live. Oh, that is awesome. And the reason that is because as it stands right now, the only app that I get paid to use, there's two technically, is Anchor the podcast and Clapper. TikTok, it's no. YouTube, no. But with the TikTok lives, I can. We are definitely going to help you try to get there. But I fucking going on there, I joined it on a community garden project last year. I wish they'd have one around my area. I totally do. Like when I was younger, it would also help my agoraphobia. But when I was younger, I volunteered at a community center as a art assistant, art teacher's assistant. I fucking loved it. Um, but we need something like that around in my area. Um, Not to mention, I think it'd be really, really cool if a group of witches could come together to do a community garden. I think it'd be extra magical. Um, but yeah, and once I get a tablet and or my laptop fixed, I'm actually planning on it's adding more to my plate, but I still want to do it. I'm gonna plan on trying to create a Patreon. Um, I have the same fear only because the only time I go live is when I cook for my kiddos, and people have been getting banned for cooking, which is stupid. That's what I'm worried about. Like, I'm so worried that I'm gonna wind up getting like a ban on it, and I'm just like, it's not even worth this point now. Um, and I have a question for y'all actually. Why is it when like my prices for my custom spell work and my readings, I've tried to keep them extremely low, right? Why is it though every single time I guess I'm underevaluating myself. Here recently I got commissioned to do some workings, and I was not expecting to receive what I received. What I mean by that is at one point in time before I fixed my prices around when the panorama done, um I had my prices slightly higher and I was getting a shit ton of work. And then when I lowered those prices, the work kind of went off. And I don't understand, like, do a lot of people come across a witch and be like, "Oh, well, your prices are really cheap. You must not do good work." Or is that just in my head? Because I don't understand that. Um which I also do think it's also due to the fucking TikTok community as well. Well, the toxic aspect of the witch community. Because I've had so many people there have been so many people in the community that are higher up and or more authoritating than me that I basically said that I'm just a colonizer or all these other stupid shit. And I'm like, how many other, as they perceive themselves, come off as white that are practicing the same thing I'm doing? I can tell you one thing though. Every single time I've done a custom spell work for somebody, knock on wood, as long as they've done the footwork on the other hand, never had an issue. Actually, the only time I've ever had an issue was when the person that I was trying to work for was not being honest with me. And see, I don't understand that because, like, that makes me think, oh, well, I should just jack up all my prices. And I'm like, well, no, it's not affordable then. Your prices are similar to my friend, and I think TikTok witches drive their prices up. I'm gonna straight up ask TikTok. I'm like, so TikTok, would you rather go to somebody who has prices to like 100 or like $90 versus what I have? Because the only reason I'm doing this is to make it more affordable. Um, I honestly don't have money to get spell work done. It could be toxic, which took people telling, not from others, just my own thoughts. Like my local metaphysical shop, their readings are cheap compared to TikTok readers. I'm actually excited about stories on TikTok. LOL. Oh, I'm definitely excited about the stories. And I've noticed that too. Like, there are some people that are like fucking charging $140 or like $200 for a fucking tarot reading. And I'm like, you do you, boo. You gotta make your money, but damn. My numbers change ridiculous prices, and she's constantly bringing in work. Some days I can't sell a hour-long reading for $5. It's so weird to me. And then also with my readings, the only readings normally that actually go over an hour are the full reading, which is 6 questions, where they actually have 6 different questions. Those will actually normally take an hour only because I do mine through Messenger and or email. So I'll lay out the cards and then I use speech to text, make sure everything is clear, and do that through wait for an answer to make sure that person doesn't have any like questions that I need to ask the cards for clarifications, and then boom. See, my prices are very similar like that. But like the problem is, I'm not making what I usually making and coming in, so like it's affecting my life. And I'm trying to find a way around it without coming off as a capitalist, but at the same time, this is my job. And like I said, I'm not making money really that much, so I've got to change things, and I don't know how. Money tip, actually. I don't know if I actually posted my video on it yesterday. So the day before, since we had that conversation about like a lot of people's been having issues with prosperity magic working, I've been doing random small amounts of like prosperity, primarily bringing customers in, right? Nothing was fucking working. So this past weekend, yeah, because today's Thursday, so I think I did it Monday. I have my own version of a money jar versus like a, it's my like chaotic money jar. There we go. And I'll basically just burn a candle on top of it. But with this one, I used a certain oil and then actually carved in an exact price of what I needed. Do you think it's just the platform that you're posting on? I don't know, because like when it comes to my community services or all my other services, I post them on everything. Because what I'll do is when I post a TikTok, even if it's a 3-minute TikTok, I'll go to a website, download it to remove the watermark, and then post it on Instagram, and then post it on Clapper and YouTube and Facebook. It very well could be the actual platforms themselves, basically not pushing my stuff out, because Instagram's went to shit now. Like, I don't understand how people, unless they're paying for it or promoting it, I do not understand how people are getting like 1,000 to 2,000 views on their shit. I don't understand that, and I'm sorry. I've never paid an app to push my things, and I don't think I ever will pay an app to push my things. Hello, and it's okay. But it's just fucking weird. That's what I was saying. With the, prosperity things, set a price. A realistic price, okay? We're not trying to win the lottery here. So like, say you needed $100. Put 90. Put even 110. And the reason that I'm saying this, because yesterday in the live, I got what I originally asked for, and that was not what was originally spoken on. Which is why I reacted the way that I reacted yesterday, because I was like, oh, holy shit, was not expecting that. And that's happened to me before. I've gotten, there was one person who did a blessing on me, as in they randomly blessed me with something, and I never actually found out who it was. They just gave me a month that I did their working on, and then that was it. And I'm like, and I searched through TikTok. I searched through all of my messages on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. And I was like, I have no idea who this is. I mean, I'm not buying tickets, but I'm trying. I'm actually trying. And the only reason that I'm actually trying is it wasn't to win the lottery, but I did have a dream of a specific ticket. Bubbers, why are you looking at my leg like there's something crawling on it? Are you debating? Come on. I know that look. I had a dream of a lottery ticket. So if y'all do play lottery tickets, blue and gold. Blue and gold. That's all I'm saying. Maybe using TikTok backup accounts for live. I do have a backup TikTok. If y'all did not know, that is Fire Lotus the Witch 2.0. And then I also have, which I have been lacking on content, which is my stoner TikTok / stoner YouTube, which is Blazed Lotus, and that's BLAZZED. And basically just the YouTube on there is just I review products. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today, only because I've got a shit ton of things to catch up on. And then also have time to enjoy myself today. So, which I love it. I love pressure. I love having to do things. But yeah, that's the game plan today. I think I went over everything that I was supposed to have went over. So yeah, now tomorrow I do not know if I'm going to go live. Y'all know how Fridays are. It depends on what the day is. And then fucking Christ, oh my god, what was I talking about? And then obviously I don't do lives Monday or Saturday or Sunday. But yeah, until then, I will talk to y'all either in the Discord and or on TikTok, and or in my emails and or Facebook and or Instagram page. One day I'm gonna find a way to combine all of those together. Um, but yeah, and for anybody who does replay this that gets to this point, you can book with that. Yes, I prefer people to use my Facebook page when booking because you can actually set up an appointment and pick all the services. But if you do not use Facebook, you can either and I've had somebody do it before, email me at firelotusthewitch@gmail.com and just mark it services. And I'll send you a list of all the services, and then we'll have a consultation. And then, and or message me on TikTok if we're mutuals, and or Instagram, Fire Lotus the Witch. And I believe I have a video up on all of those platforms, which I do. So yeah, and if you are hurting financially, but you still need work done, talk to me. I will try helping in any way that I can. So yeah. Until then, as always, thank you everybody who has liked, shared, commented, stayed in this live, popped in, popped out, subscribed. Thank y'all so much. And until then, I will talk to y'all later. Peace.